What's up guys, Peepo here, and today's video is going to be about this, the new STX Surgeon 700. No longer is it going to be called the whole Surgeon 10s and stuff like that, because I mean that's just the way it's going to go from now on. So it's new, brand new to the market. Just right off the bat, it's very clean, very rigid. They focus it towards the attackman, but I see a lot of people probably going to want to use this for LSM because it's definitely stiff enough for it. It has this decent enough scoop for that, and I mean definitely not for face-offs or anything like that. So I would definitely recommend for you as an attackman or a midfielder to use it. Maybe an LSM, but definitely not a face-off specialist head. So one of the first things that you'll notice about this head is it has this suspension rail here, which kind of stays true to what goes on with the original Surgeon 10. And so they added an extra strut here for strength, which allows what's called on the inside there Enduraform. So it's supposed to allow it to remain more rigid, doesn't pinch in as easily there. But so still has very much the same look and everything that the original Surgeons have, but it has the suspension rail here, or bracket as some people have called it. This is supposed to allow for this mesh that's attached here to be shifted in or up at an angle, so that the ball's more so supposed to be more so forced to sit right there or wherever you have the pocket formed up at. So it definitely allows more of a focused high, maybe a mid to high pocket, instead of having the ball be able to shift down a little bit lower. But with me, I like it to be able to shift just a little low. So I didn't really use the suspension rail. I tried it out, and it's a decent concept, although with this inner rail part right here, I wish they would have probably rounded that out just a little bit more, so that it's not as abrasive on the string, depending on how you end up stringing it up. So just something that I would have pointed out with a prototype, if I would have been on any sort of prototype phase sort of thing. That's one thing that I would have pointed out, just because, for the sake of, if you're gonna build something like that, you might as well incorporate longevity for the pocket. But that might have been part of a patent issue, to where they had to get around some sort of patent, or they couldn't get around some sort of patent, which more than likely is a Warrior patent. But so that's one little thing that I have to say about the suspension rail. Otherwise, it does its job. It doesn't sacrifice any durability down there, so good on STX for that. Surgeons are always known for having the really big bottom holes, and well, after the original Surgeon 10, all the Surgeons have had rather large bottom holes, so which is perfect for trad guys, or if you want to use bigger string for your bottom string, you can. Moving into the rest of the sidewalls, the shapes of the holes kind of vary right around here because of this transition being able to go into the suspension rail, which isn't a problem. It's just something that you might want to pay attention to if you're an affluent stringer. Move up into the upper third of the head. The sidewall holes get just a little bit bigger, just a little bit, so that you can put shooters, thicker strings, top strings, or get a little inventive like I did with this for the STX challenge in the String League Season 3. It's just a variant of a drop top string that I wanted to do. I thought it looked really cool. It uses what's called the channel lock hole, which is this center one here. It doesn't have the sticker on it anymore, but it has the channel lock hole, which is supposed to pull the string up, just the string and the mesh up just a little bit more, so that you have more of a solid channel that doesn't really go away. But if anything, it keeps things a little nice and curved, so it's not so much a problem or anything like that. So definitely a good idea, good concept. The holes are still angled so that you can do whatever you want to do. They're big enough for most leathers, so you don't have to have anything to worry about with that. Definitely strings up rather easy. You can put a low pocket, mid pocket, high pocket, whatever. And I believe it's only NCAA rules. The scoop, I haven't measured the scoop, but scoop doesn't seem quite wide enough to meet the universal rules. So it's definitely something to make sure that you check out when you're trying to decide whether or not to purchase it. There will not be a high school version. There's no point in having high school versions anymore, unless you're in the older groups like I'm going to be next year. But so that's one thing to pay attention to, and it just strings up really well. I didn't really have any problem stringing it up at all. But moving in more so into the scoop, it still has what's called the speed scoop design going on here, and that's just more of a rounded design in order for the scoop to be more of a smooth sort of scooping action. So it just kind of glides over whatever surface that you're going on, and because of the angle of which it has that roundedness, it protects the top string just a little bit more so than you would expect. It's not so much of a pronounced protective covering as it is on the Stallion 700, but it still, the way that just the dynamics of the scoop will work, it will protect that top string. So, and then you move into the actual throat. Cool thing about this is that the throat has the screw holes on the front instead of the back, because most of the time, if you really pay attention to the dynamics of what's going on when you're catching and throwing and everything, the head's receiving a whole lot of pressure on the front of it when the shaft's on there, and the head bends back, and then this front section moves up. It's not so much the other way around, no matter what you're doing. So they beefed it up on the backside so that the plastic doesn't break no matter what the pressure is, and then they beefed up the front a little bit, and then you put the shaft on there and you screw it from the front. So if you're not a stickler for a shaft being in the right direction, just flip if you have an STX shaft, just flip it around and the holes will meet up with any STX head or shaft or whatever that you got going on. Now, with that said, it has a kind of a, I wouldn't say a shaft lock design, but it will lock into the shaft a lot better with this design going on. So the screws will go through the shaft and then into the plastic part that's on the top there, and then depending on the size of the screw that you're using, it will either dig into or push that other piece of plastic that's on the other side of the locking area. And I honestly think that's a really cool concept, and I mean, it's something that I've kind of thought of in the past, that it would be a good idea to have a screw in the front. I've seen and done it a few times where it's like older heads, but the head has a lot of life in it, but the throat's really jacked up, and so it won't take shafts quite right. So I would put a screw in the front and a screw in the back, and so that kind of takes that idea and just takes it, I guess, a little bit step further as far as technology is concerned. So really cool concept, really awesome head. STX has hit it out of the ballpark again. Designed in Baltimore, made in Taiwan, which is fine. It's designed right here at home up in Baltimore, so that's really cool for me to know. Still haven't been up to the STX headquarters, so I want to do that. But otherwise, really cool concept. I really like the head. Not quite for me as far as what I like and what I want in a head for me personally, but all around, really great head. I think it's probably in my top 10 for the 2017-2018 time frame, but we'll see what everybody else comes out with for the 2018 season once this one's over. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Go check out the Surgeon 700 on pretty much any retail or website that you can find. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys.